Happy Sunday, everyone. This is Zach, and I'm going to make an argument today of why anything that comes out of Israel's mouth, like their public statements, it's objectively okay to not believe anything they say. It seems as though they have a strategy um, of just lying or making public statements and doing the exact opposite very frequently, and it's a history dating back to prior to Israel's even its inception. It's a strategy they've used in the past, and I'm going to go over examples of when they've done this, and tie it to some other stuff. All right, so we can start this like from the top, right? So there was this original Zionist council in the late 1800s, founded by Theodore Herzl. He was the one that organized the event, and I'm going to talk about what they said publicly, right? So publicly, they said Zionism seeks to establish a home for the Jewish people in Palestine secured by public law, which honestly, that doesn't sound like a terrible idea, right? But then privately, he said, we shall try to spirit the penniless population across the border. So he's basically saying, Theodore Herzl said, we're gonna move these poor people out, right? Poor Arabs. Right, so that's like 1897, right? So Chaim Weizmann, who is this, amazing figure in how he actually brought the whole thing together, and it really Israel wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. He was a British. He was in British government. Helped develop acetone, which was used for bullets. He was like a scientist as well, and without him, um, potentially World War One would have been lost. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but he was an integral part of World War One, and he used that leverage to really build up the state of Israel. So publicly, he said the Zionist movement will bring prosperity to the Arab population. Privately, in 1919, he said the Arabs are a hopeless lot; they will have to go. Yeah, and he's if you look through history, he's actually like one of the chiller dudes in this whole thing. So Dave Ben Gurion, the first prime minister of Israel, um, says Zionism does not aim to hurt or expel the Arabs. Right? In a letter that he wrote to his son Amos, he wrote in 1937, "We must expel Arabs and take their places." So this is 10 years before Israel became a state. Publicly, they're telling the world one thing, and then they're doing something else. Um, and then you've got Zev Jabotinsky in 1923. This guy was the precursor to the Likud party. He created a group called the Revisionist Movement. They were a political party, but more like we're strong motherfuckers. We're gonna shoot you down, right? We're gonna take you out. This is our land. We're gonna take this by power. And they were like gangsters, evil in some sort of ways. But the Likud party, which has been Netanyahu, the current prime minister, was a came from this, right? So Jabotinsky said, "We seek a peaceful coexistence with the native population." Privately, he goes, Zionist colonization must be carried out against the will of the native population. He knew that this was not about peace. He knew that they were going to have to do what they had to do by force. Like I said, Jabotinsky was a gangster. Um, so we haven't even got that deep, and it's just like publicly, they emphasize coexistence, lawfulness, benefiting of all peoples, but privately they're planning for population transfer, military force, Jewish only, Jewish only institutions, right? So it's let's go to the Israeli Declaration of Independence, right? The state of Israel, this is 1948. The state of Israel will ensure complete equality of social and political rights to all inhabitants, irrespective of religion, race, or sex. But privately, Ben Gurion ordered the Plan Dalat. And if you don't know what Plan Dalat was, that's when they expelled 750,000 people from their land. They put mines there. They even have it in writing, right? We're going to burn down villages. We're going to plant mines so they come back. If you look at it, there was a Operation Cast Thy Bread. They literally were poisoning wells. It's not a fake thing. They came out with this. You can see their documents that said this. So after in 1956, right, the Suez Crisis, Israeli officials claimed that Israel's goal was a self defense against terrorism from Egypt. But privately, Moshe Dayan, who's this like one eyed dude, he's like got like a thing over his eye. He's like scary looking, dude. He's like a cartoon character. Everything about this is cartoonish. He goes, "We knew very well that the Egyptian soldiers were not planning to attack us. We wanted to hit them." This guy literally has like an eye patch. Like these guys are crazy. 1967, the Six Day War. Israel claimed it was fighting a preemptive defensive war against Arab aggression. Privately, Menachem Begin, who was their elected prime minister, he was a former terrorist. Like literally, even they had him as listed as a former terrorist. Speaking of former terrorists, our government just let in a someone that was arrested of supporting terrorism into the United States. His name is Itamar Ben Gavir. He's a major piece of shit. If I saw him, I would fight him if he would let me, right? Because I'd be like, "Hey, do you want to fight?" And he'd probably go, "No, I'm a fat fuck, and I'm not gonna fight you. Whatever." So I'm gonna follow the law and not fight him because I have kids. Um, but yeah, so Prime Minister Begin, former terrorist, now he's leading the country. So he goes, Israel claimed it was fighting a preemptive defensive war against Arab aggression. And then he admitted in June 1967, we had a choice. The Egyptian army concentrations in the Sinai did not prove that Nasser was really about to attack us. We must be honest with ourselves. We decided to attack him. Psychos, liars, psychos, liars, liars, liars. 1982, Lebanon. I'm part Lebanese, so, I'm just going to say that. Israeli leadership told the world the invasion aimed only to stop Palestinian rockets attacks from southern Lebanon. Privately, Ariel Sharon, who was used to work under Begin, and at the time he's working under Begin still. He later became prime minister, and he was the guy that did the Sabra and Shatila massacres, where they basically just executed a bunch of women and children while the men were off in Algeria. Long story, I'm not going to get into that. He goes, "We are going to Lebanon to destroy the PLO in Beirut." So the goal was regime change, much bigger than stopping rockets. Like everything is a fucking lie. Oslo Accords, right? 1993. Israel publicly recognized the PLO, said it would pursue a two-state solution. Yitzhak Rabin, the prime minister, and others discussed maintaining settlements deep inside Palestinian territory, fragmenting it to prevent a true Palestinian state from emerging. They didn't even like that he did that. Even though he had that sinister plan, they're like, "No, bro, you can't do that." They killed that prime minister. Like Israel killed their own prime minister because they're like, "No, dude, you can't. No two-state solution. You're crazy." Even though he wasn't even planning on following it. Bam, he got executed by a group that I'm pretty sure Netanyahu was in that group. So 2005, Israel claimed its withdrawal from Gaza was to promote peace and give Palestinians freedom. Privately, Dov Weissglass, advisor to Prime Minister Ariel Sharon, so the former like mass murderer is now the president, and Dov Weissglass's advisor admitted the significance of disengagement plan is the freezing of the peace process. It supplies the amount of formaldehyde necessary so that there will not be a political process with the Palestinians. These people brag about it. They'll say it to us, but then later on, like, "Do you see what we did, homie? Like we're fucking gutting these guys." Right now they're only targeting civilians. I mean, well, that's okay. They're only targeting Hamas and wants to protect civilians when we clearly know that, Minister Yoav Gallant said these are human animals and we'll treat them accordingly. We're watching all the soldiers saying this is the Nakba 2.0. You've got people like Ben Gvir and Smotrich that are and Daniela Weiss. You have all these officials that are saying like, "Get them the fuck out of here. We're gonna remove them all. This is ours." But they're coming to the U.S. being like, "Yeah, peace, peace." But now they're starting to show a little bit, like you see Trump saying, "Oh, we're gonna make this a resort and whatever." Like, it's everything that they say is to an extent a lie. And even if you look at their like intelligence organization, the Mossad, they're they're this is their slogan: "By way of deception, thou shalt do war." That's their official motto. Everything that Israel says is a lie. And you can tie it into some religious things, but I think that's a little bit, that's such a minor part of it. But there are some people that have taken religious texts and have turned it into something else, and they're saying that they can lie to non-Jewish people. And I know that's not the whole of the, even, I mean, none of this is the whole of the group, right? There's Jewish people, there's Israeli people, and there's people in Israel that are not for what Israel's doing. There's people, there's just a lot of overlap. Like there's good people, there's bad people, I mean, I think everyone's kind of good. It's just like how you were raised. If you were raised to be like a psycho killer, like that's who you are, but at the same time, like you're only like that because of your parents. Like if you had better parents, you wouldn't be a scumbag. Like if you were not grown up in a community where it's like, oh, let's what where you're in class talking about what do you want to do? Oh, you want to kill the Palestinians? Great, good job. You know, if you weren't raised in that way, you wouldn't be a piece of shit. And that's kind of where I'm going with this. So, in summary, Israel's government is a group of liars, and they have lied from their inception. They will publicly tell us one thing, and they will privately do something else. We can't trust anything they say. For all we know, they could be extorting our country to enact their will. Do not trust anything that Israel's government says unless it's the fucked up shit, because that's their true intention, is the fucked up shit. Excuse my French. I don't like swearing, but I'm dumb.